So we're talking about what we can do to fix time famine and getting back to our cognitive triad. Now we're going to talk about ways we can act a little bit differently to feel a bit more time affluent. And a big one is that we need to prioritize this sense that we have some free time. We need to really kind of invest in our time affluence. And an obvious but hard way to do that is to literally change your schedule around so you have some free time. Never underestimate the power of a little tiny block of extra free time. And that in some sense is the beauty of time affluence. Time affluence isn't the objective amount of free time you have, it's your subjective sense that things are open. And that means you can kind of hack that subjective sense without actually opening that much more time. The story I like to tell is in the first run of my psychology in the Good Life class, I was going to teach students a whole lecture about time affluence. And I realized how ironic that was since my students are so time famished. And so what I did was when students came to class, they were given a flyer by one of my teaching assistants that said, this class is going to teach you about time affluence. And to do that, I'm going to give you no class today. You have a free hour and a half that you didn't expect, you just found out. And it was amazing. It just happened to be one of these unusually warm days on Yale's campus. So the students went outside, had this unstructured time. But what was interesting was that one student burst into tears. And she said, this is the first hour and a half I've had off all semester, right? And so we all can feel that. The reason I tell this story is what did the students do? They only had an hour and a half. That is not a lot of time. But so many of them were it just, they felt like they could learn a new language or go skiing. Some of them went on hikes. And I think we know this, right? Imagine a super packed day when some meeting gets canceled and you just suddenly have this time. Again, it doesn't feel like an hour. It feels like, whoa. So you can gift yourself that, and it doesn't derail the schedule that much, right? What if in all of your calendars right now, you went in 2 months from now and just wrote, and cleared a block and just wrote time affluence? My promise is when you get to that, you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's open, right? So what can you do to literally schedule some of that in? And it doesn't have to be a lot to have a big effect psychologically. That's one way to kind of act towards your time affluence. But a different one is to kind of use the resources you do have to get more time. And a big one for many families that have discretionary income is to spend money to save time. Studies by Ashley Willens find the power of this. A big one that she often looks at is when you go out to eat or you get takeout. We don't often think of that as a savings in time, but it really is. I go, with my husband and I get pad thai and I eat the pad thai. I'm not thinking that was an hour that I didn't have to cook the noodles or go to the grocery store or what did I do with that hour and a half? I saved it, right? So this is both spending your money to get back free time, but recognizing when you do that. Ashley Willens finds that no matter how much discretionary income you have, if you have any and you spend it on getting time back, that's better than making material purchases. So especially if you're privileged enough to have a decent amount of discretionary income, what does that look like? That can look like things of paying for housing that's closer to work so you save time commuting. That can look like, doing things with your food, hire someone to cook some food, clean the house, these things. But don't just spend it, recognize that you've saved it. And in the spots where you're already spending it, realize oh my gosh, I bought back this time, cheers to me to doing that. So that's a way we can act differently. But a bigger one is to kind of make good use of the free time we do have. We need to kind of make what's called our time confetti count. The journalist Bridget Schultz has coined this interesting term, time confetti, which is the kind of tiny, small scraps of time we have during the day. So think 5 minutes when your kid kind of falls asleep early and you didn't expect that, or 10 minutes when the Zoom meeting ends. We have these tiny scraps and we don't think they're that much, so we just kind of blow them. You check your email or do something silly. But it turns out they add up. And in fact, there's some evidence that if you add up our time confetti now, it winds up being more free time than we had even 10 or 15 years ago. We objectively actually have more free time, Ashley Willens' research suggests. It just doesn't feel like it because it's broken up into these little time pieces that are floating around that we kind of blow. So what can you do to kind of maximize that, to recognize that those moments count? And Ashley Willens has this recommendation that I like. She suggests in your notes app on your phone or somewhere, make a time confetti to-do list. But this isn't your normal to-do list. This isn't work. This is stuff that you could do to feel a little happier. That's when you take a breath. That's when you text a friend. That's when you just sit on your own and don't blow it on work stuff. Use it well. Because when you use that time well, you notice it and you feel a little bit more time affluent. And so those are just some ways we can act differently to prioritize our time affluence.